No.
What? How?
No.
Hey.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Oh, it's a wrap. Hey, everybody. It's not a wrap at the end. It's a wrap at the beginning. And we're starting off episode. What episode?
I think it's 4, maybe.
I think it's 5, dude.
Could be 5. Could be 5. I went to public school. I never learned to go past 4.
You went to school. Well, you were one of the privileged ones. You went to school.
Back in the 60s.
Yep. Oh, I wasn't even born yet in the 60s.
That was before they took the Bible out of school.
Oh, man. Okay, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Yeah. Wait, first we have an unofficial sponsor for the show.
Okay, unofficial sponsor.
Unofficial sponsor. We also have an unofficial guest today, but first we'll have the unofficial sponsor.
Take it away, John.
This is it. Today we have the Universal Flowmaster Toilet Valve.
That's some serious stuff right there.
This is you never would have known, but this is trusted by toilet manufacturers and professionals worldwide, not just in the United States, worldwide, this bad boy. And it's engineered to restore and increase toilet performance. I had no idea that there was even a place where they engineer toilet performance.
I think this whole episode's going down the drain.
Hey! It's going into the toilet, that's for sure. So, and for best performance of your toilet, you should use all of the Flowmaster items in your toilet at one time.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank
you, John.
Flowmaster toilet filler valve. That's
all right. Thank you, John. We'll
there
let
you go.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. So what's going on? Well, you mind if I start it?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
do your thing.
Start it off here.
All right. I'm very nervous because we have so this is a different show today. So
I know it is a different show. We have a guest. I don't want to mention any names, but not yet. We're not going to do that yet. But okay. As you know, or maybe you guys don't know, but I'm from the LA area, born and raised. I was born in Los Angeles.
Wow.
I lived there until I was 20. Okay. And then I moved to Orange County, which is adjacent to LA County. So I lived there my whole entire life until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we moved to, I can't even hardly say it. It's so weird. It's just bizarre.
Go ahead.
We didn't just
pull it
move
off.
a county later. 100 miles north or south. We didn't even move to the next state. No, we had to go all the way to the East Coast. Yeah, I'm sitting here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's where I live now, and if you look at my backdrop there, I mean, nothing. We just moved in. There's boxes everywhere. The place is a disaster, but somehow, because of you, the viewer, and you, the listener, my heart goes out to you, and we cannot let you be without an episode of It's a Wrap.
Sure.
So that's why we're here.
A very special It's a Wrap.
We're doing it for you. We're doing it for you, our listeners and viewers. So anyways.
Well, you know what? Welcome. It's really the South. South Carolina is the South. So there's a welcome to the South, y'all.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I've been hearing y'all a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I go anywhere, it's y'all. But everybody here is, if you're from LA like I am, this might make you feel bad, but everybody in the South is so much nicer than everybody in LA.
It's true. Does everybody wave like as you're driving by? Yeah, you got to wave to everybody.
You got to wave to everybody, and you say hi to everybody, and people just start asking you how you're doing out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And it's
and
and in
eh,
LA, if you do that, I mean, you better have your hand on your gun or something. 'Cause you don't know where they're coming from.
well, have you asked anybody how they're doing yet? And then they do this, they go, well, just the other day, I went and helped my old friend down the street, and he fell off his tractor, and now he's got 2 broken legs and a broken hip, and I had to mow his lawn for him. And
There
then
you go.
that,
That's just,
if you haven't had that yet, that's coming.
it's
That's coming,
coming.
and it doesn't matter where you do it either. Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
Well, yes, but not in Carolina. But yes, I have.
Oh, it doesn't matter where you go, unless
Yeah.
you go here, because we have apparently the biggest Buc-ee's in the entire nation.
Wow,
In Tennessee, yeah, right by our house.
that's pretty impressive.
So yeah, and Buc-ee's is like Walmart and Love's had a child, and it became Buc-ee's. It's Ronan said he was overwhelmed when he went in there, but you gotta if you gotta go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so you'll get, and then be careful if anybody says, "Oh, bless your heart,"
Oh, I know. I
because
mean, that's like in LA, it's like whatever.
yeah.
Airhead.
Well, it
But-
either means you're stupider than a stick, or it could mean really bless your heart. But it all depends, and you don't really know.
Hey,
So-
can I throw out? I'm not going to ask you. I'm just going to do it. But
Okay, do it.
Holiday Ranch.
Yeah.
I have to plug our movie that
Go ahead.
John and I wrote.
Go ahead, do it.
It's getting close. It's getting
Yeah.
close to production. I know stuff you don't even know, John.
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, but it's okay.
spill the beans on the floor. Go ahead, just
No.
spill it on the floor. Make me clean it up.
I
Go
know,
on.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer to shooting this puppy. But for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, John and I, we're writers as well as actors, and we've written a number of screenplays. But this one in particular, called Holiday Ranch, it's kind of a Hallmarkish, Great American Family rom-com thing, and we're going to be shooting it in Tennessee. And I'm thinking we're going to be doing it right after the holidays, is what I'm kind of thinking.
Oh, I hope so, because
Yeah.
I will be in Arizona with
Yep.
Billy and the Hillbillies.
I know.
Performing for Christmas.
Okay, we got some stuff to talk about. I mean, I got I got other stuff, but I feel bad for Kevin.
Yeah, but you know what? Because we got to talk about the Dodgers, and Kevin, I think, is a Dodger fan. So
Well, let's Kevin
so
Gregg.
let's
Wait a
bring in-
minute! Don't come on yet, Kevin.
No.
Don't come on yet. Wait.
wait, we got to give him a good intro.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the intro. Oh shoot! He's sitting there and he's laughing probably, but this is right off of Kevin Gregg's website. It says, "Now I want to do it with some panache here."
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
do it with something.
Okay. I've been a creative professional for over 25 years as an actor, director, writer, and content creator. I've worked with major brands, including Tide, Chrysler, Fidelity, H&R Block, Toshiba, Yamaha. Oh my gosh, this just keeps going on. Cedar Fair
Parks.
and the Walt Disney Company. I'm also a recipient of the Ovation and LA Weekly Theater Awards and a member of the Disneyland Resort Entertainment Hall of Fame. Wow. That's
Also
all
a
right.
member.
Kevin Gregg, are you there?
Yeah,
I
Well,
couldn't have said that better
yeah.
myself, Dave.
yeah.
Thanks so much
Ladies
for
and
having me on.
gentlemen, Kevin Gregg, actor, entrepreneur,
Humble dude.
humble person that he is. Here he is right here.
Thanks,
So
guys.
how you doing,
so
Kevin?
happy to be here and happy about the Dodgers going to the World Series for sure. I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to tell you, Dave, I was on your Facebook the other day and I was watching. My son is a huge fan. And of course, at the time that we're recording this right now, the Dodgers have clinched the pennant. They're going to the World Series. It's going to be
Yes.
like the Yankees and Dodgers facing off against each other.
That's classic. That's a classic.
Haven't
Classic.
haven't done it since 1981. Haven't done it since 1981. There you go. Go
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Ah.
Go Dodger Blue. I'll have to tell you this, Dave. You said this on your. Look at that. You said
Look
this.
at it.
This
Oh
guy,
gosh. Oh
This
gosh.
guy bleeds Dodger Blue. We've just lost so many viewers of this show that hate the Dodgers. But I'll tell you, Dave, you put something on your Facebook, which I absolutely agree with. I'm gonna have to tell you, I yearn for the days of Vin Scully because those
Yes.
announcers on those national things. God bless the Mets for sure. But I will tell you, the entire time it was like the announcers were sad that the Dodgers were losing, and just giving it
I
all for the
know.
Mets. It was terrible,
It
terrible
I
announcing.
gotta tell you, it sucked. I hate to put
Yeah,
it
right.
that way, but yeah, I mean, I'm listening to this whole I'm watching the game. Well, first of all, let me back up and say now that I'm on the East Coast, everything is 3 hours later. It's really bizarre
Yeah, sure
because
is.
I'm watching the game and it started at 8 o'clock at night,
Oh
and
yeah,
I go to
crazy.
bed like at 10,
Yeah, yeah,
So
crazy, dude.
so I stayed up till
Yeah.
midnight watching this stupid game, and like you just got done saying, the announcers were so pro New York,
Man, it was nuts.
and
I mean, they had these moments during the thing was saying, well, these Mets, they really came back from behind and they really are having such a hard time and they're really pushing through. And just like kind of, and that's the part where I miss people like Vince Scully, God rest his soul.
yeah,
Because Vince
right,
Scully was always like neutral, just like telling the game as it was. And just like,
yeah.
unfortunately, those guys didn't. And also, we got to mention this while we're here. Got God rest his soul, Fernando Valenzuela
Oh
just
yeah,
passed away the
yeah,
other
I
day,
heard
which
that.
is 19. He was in the 1981 series with those guys, and now he's passed away.
Wow.
63. What the heck, dude?
I
Yeah,
He's
know. I
63
saw
years old.
that, and I thought 63. That's
God, it's
that's.
terrible.
wasn't he a bit overweight though?
Well, I'm sure I have no idea what the official cause of death was, but it was a super
Yeah,
shock, and he was such a phenom here when he was in LA.
he really
So
was Fernando Mania.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember it well.
absolutely do. Anyway, glad to be on the
He
show with you guys today.
yeah.
Nice to have you. So what's going on in your life, Kevin?
Well, I got so much. John was John and I worked for years together down at Disneyland, fellow brother in Christ and all this, and just love this guy dearly, man. He's just been such a part of my life. I left working at Disney years ago and going into more creative ventures. Over the last few years, one of the things I wanted to talk about was I knocked John off of his seat because he couldn't believe
Off
I
his
said
pedestal.
the
Off his
kind
pedestal.
words. He
I
couldn't
just
believe it.
wanted to give Kevin a little bit of what we used to do when we performed together, while I would stand behind him and chew scenery, and he would be working really hard in front of me. So I
Be
thought I would
something
bring a
else.
little bit of that back.
So many of those. God bless you, John. God bless. I used to describe it as this. I once with John. I'll have to tell you this. I heard this once from a preacher in a sermon, and I thought, "Gosh, this is exactly like John." The preacher was talking about how he saw this little dog that was going down the street and it was heading towards a busy intersection. The guy was stuck in traffic, and he just thought, "Oh no, that dog's going to get killed." And then he watched as a dog went into the intersection. He couldn't see what was happening. He heard all this screeching and crashing and all this stuff. And he's just like, oh my gosh, that dog got killed. He saw all these cars crash. And then right on the other side, the dog was going, just walking all the way through. And I said, yeah, that's John Eaden. That's John right there. And the preacher's point was like God's protection is always on people to kind of do that.
Oh,
And God's protection is always on John for sure.
oh wow.
So.
What a story, huh?
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't disagree with
But
most
I,
of that.
I will tell you, actually two of the things I get an opportunity to be able to just talk to you guys about, which I'm grateful to share and just pass along, which I think should be, God willing, helpful for your audience. But one of the projects I've been working on over the last few years, I had when the pandemic happened, I was searching for some online work, and I had a guy that reached out to me on Upwork of all things. He was looking for somebody to help him tell his story. His name was Doug Riggle. He was a guy that he was looking for somebody. He was a believer. He's somebody that had gone through a whole bunch of challenges in his life, and he was looking to tell this story because at the age of 10 he discovered that he was adopted. He did not know this, and it was revealed to him by his parents. And he had a kind of a very challenging upbringing in his family. And as he ended up growing up and becoming an adult, he had a major event that happened in his life, which ended up causing him to become a Christian, and he felt led to lead organizations which helped orphans and adopted kids throughout the world. He ended up adopting a son that was about 13 and raised him for a while. Tragically, that son ended up committing suicide at about 21 as he was going through all of these challenges. And so Doug really talked about this story, and we helped sort of unfold this story about how he was able to get through all of these challenges with Christ's help. We ended up calling the book "I'd Rather Be a Buffalo" because he had heard this thing about in Native American stories that they've had in the past, and also known in the plains in the United States, when storms come up on the plains, there's a difference between the way that cattle or buffalo approach a storm. Cattle, when a storm comes, they will usually turn around and run away from the storm and end up being in the storms even longer. Buffalo will turn around and go right into the head of the storm to go
Wow.
through it and to get through it faster. And Doug
Hmm.
came up with this title for the book, which he said, I'd rather be a buffalo. And I thought that's an amazing name for this
Yeah.
book,
Wow.
an amazing name for this brand that we worked on. Throughout the course of the process, talk about challenges that we had along the way. And Doug truly lived this. As we were writing and finishing his book and had it in manuscript form and we're shopping it to some agents and publishers, about 2 years ago, he was moving down to South Carolina, of all things. As
Wow.
he was moving down, he ended up getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which came out of the blue. Had no idea that this was happening. Put everything on pause for us as we were doing the book and going, all right, let's see what's going to happen. We ended up creating a podcast where we started talking about these challenges. And this was part of the thing that we started doing with our brand of I'd Rather Be a Buffalo before his book came out, which was to go, the things that we've gone through in life, which Doug went through, I went through, but we go through it by, number one, leaning on God and asking for his help as we go through these storms in life. So it's had 3 different pillars. It's about realizing that you can get through these challenging storms with God's help and with fellowship with other people, and by doing things like talking about it, whether it's in therapy, fellowship, writing in journals. The second thing we talk about is growing deeper in your relationship with God. And then the third part of that was about finding out what God's purpose and calling is for your life. So as we started talking about that during the podcast, it's amazing as we continue to share parts of Doug's challenge. Unfortunately, Doug passed away earlier this month. We knew that it was sort of like coming, and there was a little bit of an unexpected twist with it. So we're still on the other end of that, but trying to carry on his legacy and getting this book. Now there's going to be an epilogue that's on it and getting it out there, but continuing on with the I'd Rather Be a Buffalo brand. So that's a lot that I just threw at you guys.
Yeah, way to bring the podcast down, buddy.
Thanks, pal. Thanks for the uplifting. Thanks for the thing.
No, I think it's interesting that because even the story about how the name came about is pretty cool in general. And you've talked to me about the book a few times, and so I think that the importance about it is how getting through those storms and relying on Christ to get you through these areas in life. I think that in itself can be a ministry. And the weird thing is, that you have a purpose in life. Doug had a purpose in life. You have a purpose in life, Dave and I. And when you start to realize that purpose and God is using you, it's not necessarily about, you're going to have, a mega church or you're going to be big and famous. But like I always say, these mega church guys like Greg or what's his name?
Greg Laurie?
Greg Laurie too. Any of these big guys, somebody was their pastor before. Somebody brought them up in Christ.
Exactly.
And you don't even know who those people are.
Right.
But here's they've got this big church, Chino Hills, Calvary Chino Hills, or the guy out here in Murfreesboro. They're all huge, but at some point somebody was there. God had a purpose for that pastor to bring this person up in Christ. And some of these people come from really bad upbringings, So, and that's the same thing with Doug. He may have passed, but this book, I think, is going to really help people when you're dealing with all those areas in life where you're like, I just can't. And you read something like that, and you go, I can.
And I do think it's a big thing, which I've discovered along the years with, I've been in recovery programs and growing deeper in my relationship with Christ. I credit John to part of that, as well as being part of my recommitment. I am a practicing Catholic, but part of the stuff that I did was, I was sharing part of that when I was working at Disney with John as I was going through my challenges. But, we get so, especially in, 21st century North America, for all of us, it seems like everything is so picture perfect for everybody as they're looking, everybody's looking at social media and everybody seems to be living the best perfect life. And we see that we've got it wrong, or I'm not getting this right, or we're too ashamed of going, something must be wrong, and learning to be not putting it, not oversharing, too much, but learning like, hey, I can share some of my brokenness, or I can at least, I need to let other people know, hey, I need a little bit of help here. I need to talk about some junk that I'm going through, you know? So,
Yeah.
Not trying to plug my other podcast, but
yes, sir.
I know, John. I know. But my other podcast, which
This is alcohol.
I know, but I have a reason for bringing it up. My other podcast is called "It's All About Relationship," and it's a Christian broadcast where it's an encouragement tool that we use. And sometimes I'm just alone, solo, just myself talking for a little bit. But often I have guests on. I have authors, actors, directors, writers, preachers, all kinds of people on. But so I'm officially in front of everybody asking you, Kevin, if you would like to be on my other podcast.
You know what that's like? That's like when somebody says to their girlfriend, "Would you marry me on the jumbotron at a Dodgers game?" What's she gonna say?
Yeah.
No, and then watch the tomatoes come flying.
It's like, hey, Dave, can we talk about this?
Can we talk about this off camera?
Dave, I'd be
Kevin will
honored.
say,
I'd be.
He's going to say,
on the
"I'll
show.
be honored," and then as soon as we end the podcast, he'll say, "What the heck's wrong with you?"
I would be.
What?
No, it'd be an honor to be on that, because part of this too is just about like we're trying, especially what you guys are doing here with this show, or what you're doing, Dave, with this, is number one, you're always trying to reach out to a larger audience, and you never know that one person that might be watching this show, or somebody that's watching that other show, that it's exactly the thing that they need to do. And it's also a way that God and the Holy Spirit works, right? Because all of a sudden that one thing comes where somebody goes, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need to do." So it'd be an honor to be on that show.
Awesome.
So that brings me to the other side of Kevin Matthew Gregg. Is what is it? Getting your creative work done. I had to write that down because I keep forgetting.
Sure.
But I want to say this. I have a little story about that, because Kevin Matthew Gregg had he'd been working on this whole thing with get your creative work done, and we were working at Disney together. And he told me he was doing like a class. I think you were doing it at a church, and he goes, he's invited a bunch of people, and I'm like, this is I had a text, my Jedi friend.
That's why you mute your phone.
Wait a minute. Let me mute my phone before somebody. David, you should mute your phone. So that's perfect. So, anyways, and I don't even know if Kevin knows this, but I'm going to be really honest, because that's what this is all about.
Sure.
But the thing, it's funny when you study the Bible and you hear that a prophet is never accepted in his own home.
Right.
And so here Kevin's like, he puts out this thing, "Hey, I'm doing this class at this church. Come. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want to support Kevin, but what is he going to teach me or say to me that I haven't heard in the dressing room 5,000 times?
Yeah,
right. And so, but I go, yeah, he's my friend. I'm going to support him. So I go to this thing and I sit, and no lie, I'm like, oh, dang. And I just started writing. I had pages of notes that I took that day. And then, since then, he's talked to me and he's been working on that program. And we've talked about the different aspects of that program that have come about. And one of the things, and the reason I bring this up is because it really stuck in my mind, and I'll throw it after I talk about this. But he does that. I think it was every 5 minutes or 8 minutes. Was it 8 minutes?
Usually about
15 minutes.
It's 6 minutes. I have a current one that I'm getting ready to launch, which is like an 18-minute miracle class. But go ahead.
Yes. So I was doing. I would have to do like 8 minutes or whatever it is that he would say. Do 8 minutes of creative work every day. And so, we got into writing. Me and Dave have been writing partners on and off for a long time. And lately we've been just like on it. And so when we did Holiday Ranch, we did another movie before that, which we wrote like 3 different ways.
A wish for Christmas.
A Wish for Christmas. That was,
right.
So we, in the process of writing those, one of the things that came to my head was doing that 6 minutes every day. So there were 2 aspects of it. One of them was making sure I made up regular time to meet with Dave, which was easy for me to go, oh, no, I can't meet this way because I got stuff.
It's because you like me so much.
Well, I do like you. I like you all the time. I like you.
I love you too, John.
But to write, to get down, sit down here and go, okay, I gotta do, and in your brain, you're like, sometimes you got nothing there,
Right.
and you're like, we're gonna sit down and write anyway. But on top of that, there was the kind of the homework stuff that goes on beforehand. Oh, I got an idea for a scene, or I got this, or I got that. So I actually made sure, and I can't say this for Dave, because I think Dave is way more active in his pursuits than I am. I think that Dave is a very aggressive when he goes after something. He's very aggressive in doing it. Me, on the other hand, so many not irons in the bucket, working the venue, doing police work, doing whatever. There's always a thing where I want to sit down and watch Andy Griffith on TV. So to make it a point to do that 8 minutes every day and take the time out really got me focused on both these screenplays, which eventually got optioned, and now one is in pre-production.
Yeah.
And I made sure that I would agree with Dave to get that at least once a week where we would be writing, and then again every day I would try to sit down and go, I'm going to write something or come up with an idea or look at the script and say, even if it was just correcting mistakes we were making in the script, I was going to spend time in there. So it was amazing what I learned that one class so many years ago.
Thanks, buddy.
And then that continuation of that stuff since then, every time you threw something out, I would go back. So I throw it to you because it's really, I have to say, every time I look at the IMDb feed on that, and I go, oh dang, we actually have something in pre-production.
Yeah.
I go, Kevin Gregg. If it wasn't for Kevin Gregg, we never, I don't know, Dave would have probably been furious with me, but like, oh yeah, I can't meet this week, Dave, because I got an entire Pick My Nose convention that I'm going to.
What?
But the fact that we work, we're on screenplay number 3, and we just keep on working, and we're pushing things out, and so I have to say that I owe that to Kevin, and as a starting. So, and I throw that to you because I want you to go ahead and explain your whole creative work.
That thing that John's talking about, years ago, I'd actually taught a class that was on it. It's actually now out as a Kindle book, which is called The 5 Reasons You Need to Do Creative Work for a Living. You can find it on Amazon on Kindle right now. And it was that idea that God's put that spark that's inside of us to get that work done, and that we need to be responding to that call, especially when you're creative. There's a reason he's put that in you, for a reason, and that you're fulfilling part of this work, and I go through part of that in that book. But the things that John's talking about is I started this thing where it was like a 6 minute doing your stuff done and eventually building it up. I've got a new class which I'm going to be launching pretty soon, which is called the 18-minute miracle. It's very challenging for creatives, right? Like, we get all of these fantastic ideas, but the idea of like sitting down and doing the hard, productive work is so challenging, right?
Yeah.
And
sure.
yeah, that's been part of the stuff that I've been working on. Actually, if you go to workingcreatives.com right now, I'm just starting to get ready. I'm going to be launching a community that's going to be coming out in the next, I'm beta testing it right now for the next several weeks, and then I'm going to be opening up to a larger thing, because I truly do want to encourage people that have that creative drive that's in them that goes, I feel like there's something that's inside me that needs to get done. I'm like going, yeah, you need to follow that. And not only follow that, but also learn how to do it, get it done, and also get it to market and to thrive. That you're not just like, hey, twiddling your thumbs, because I truly do believe this, and I think that you guys would agree with me on this. Our media, our entertainment, all the other stuff that's out there, it, first of all, it was brought to us and created by God. And I do think that it's been co-opted and hijacked and all this other stuff. And the fact is that we can take it back, and we can actually get some incredible stories and messages and stuff that are out there, which eventually point towards the kingdom, right? Listen, that's my ultimate goal with all this, right? Talk about being behind the enemy lines, right? It's kind of like going, hey, we have some intelligent people that are out there that sometimes we get too scared about going, maybe I shouldn't be doing this work. It's like, no, man, I think that God put that in your heart for a reason, and you got to move forward. So that's that's what I'm trying to respond to with my call. So thank you, John.
That's awesome. And that, and that's what John and I, when we write together the screenplays that we do, like, we do rom-coms and whatever else we do, but we always put elements of faith in there. We always do that. And we don't try to beat people over the head with it or anything, but we always make it very clear, where we're coming from. So I don't know if I'd call them faith-based project, but I would say that they're general audience with
Yeah.
A message included. So we do that,
Dig it.
and it's in Holiday Ranch. It's in there, and
Mhm.
even Wish for Christmas is in there too. So
I
yeah,
dig it, man. There's a quote that's from Mel Gibson from years ago, right? If you can get entertainment, that if you can get something that you're making that entertains, educates, and enlightens, you're
there
great.
you
If
go.
you're doing all three, you're in the right place. So if you're in that,
Wow.
if you're on that realm, you're going in the right direction. And I'll get you. Sometimes we just do need, like, hey, I need something where I can sit down and enjoy this without getting hit over the head with an ideology or a message that just goes, what? I mean, I was talking about that. I'll get very non-specific, but we've seen this happen over the last several years. I remember sitting down to watch a documentary on Netflix that was about 1980s video arcade games. And I thought, this is going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait to see this. And then I was 10 minutes into the or into the documentary, when all of a sudden I was hit over the head with an ideological message that I went,
Really?
this has nothing to do with
Oh
video
man.
games, right?
Right.
And I was
Wow.
out, So I want to be able to sit
Yeah.
down and be able to watch something to kind of go, am I cool that I'm not getting hit over the head with propaganda at the same time too, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
The other part of that, especially with us in the creative circles, and I don't think we should be afraid of anything. And I was actually inspired a little bit by Della Reese. She used to do Touched by an Angel,
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
and she was on that show, and she was talking to someone, and I can't remember who it was, and they were talking to her about what projects they should take, and the Della says to, he was like, there's some swear words or some bad things. And Della says, you know what? It's not so much about the project. She says, you have to listen to God's voice, listen to where God wants to put you or what he wants you to do, because you never know who he's trying to get you in contact with.
That's right.
And she said, you have to go out there and trust him. And it may be some things where you're like, oh, this is going to be counter to what I'm going to go to church and people are going to go, why did you do that movie? And you go, you have to know that if God is calling you there, go there. And if you're wrong, he'll take care of you
Yes.
and he'll let you know that you're wrong. But go there because there's that person, and he'll do anything for one person. It's that whole sheep, the 91 and the 99.
Right.
He'll do anything to get that one person.
Yeah.
And if he knows that you're strong enough to walk into that area and talk to that individual, I know David's done it on General Hospital, and I think when you get to that point and you get to there, so it could be about projects, it could be about a script that you're writing, it could be about a role that you're going to play. Don't just because it says swear words or it's got you dressed up a certain way or it's got you doing certain things. If you have a tug in your spirit, then go, okay, maybe God doesn't want me to do this. I'm going to pray about this before I accept it. But it was pretty cool that she says, you never know who God is going to reach through those moments. And that's what it's all about. It's just about doing what we're doing for God.
Yes.
And we put him first. And it's not about the money. It's not about any of that. It's about, what does God want me to do right here? And like you said it in that thing that when you were talking that I wrote down, and it was that God has a plan and he has a purpose for you to do that creative work.
Correct.
You need to do that creative work because God has to use it.
Yes.
Somehow, some way he's got to use it.
Yes.
And that's, we have to let him be God.
Be that person, and don't miss that opportunity, because guess
Right.
what? His plan's going to work out regardless, right? So please don't miss out on the opportunity where he just kind of goes, well, John, Dave, I want you to do this and I need to get it done. So I got it done with some other people anyway, but it was supposed to be you guys. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be that either.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So crazy. So anyway, those are some of the things. I'm just grateful to be able to come on here and share this with you guys, and just
Well, we appreciate that, and we really thank you for coming on, and I look forward to having you on. It's all about relationship, which you know, I don't want to plug it too much, but you know, here it is again.
Good.
So,
You should.
anyway,
Why don't you put a banner on the bottom of the page there?
why don't I do that? Like,
Amazing.
Oh my gosh! So you can see this on Facebook. You can see it on YouTube, right, Dave? I'm reaching out there.
Oh yeah.
And you can also hear this on Spotify. And I think it's easiest if you go Dave Novak and John Eaden, and then you go to It's a Rap. It comes up better than trying to go It's a Rap. And there's like a million It's a Rap, from songs to, you know, whatever. So if you just say Dave Novak or John Eaden, It's a Rap, I think you'll find it pretty quick if you want to listen to something stupid on your way to work. Oh, Kevin! Go, Kev! Go!
Guys, remember that?
Yeah.
Hey, it's a wrap. Yeah.